Question is,
Yeah.
how did you get all this? Where does like do people come
We
to
steal
you?
it when that
Yeah,
ain't
when they
looking.
looking?
You understand?
That's why we're
so
here.
Tony George didn't say nothing when you took that away. Tony said, "Just take it." I mean,
No, we've been collecting stuff for a lot of years. Actually, the first item that we collected is the Boops car that I won the National Open in '82 that's downstairs.
the first year you won, or the second?
This first year.
Okay.
We had never sold that car. And Mr. Boop, after, he said, what should I do with the car? I said, I'll tell you what, I'll put a fresh coat of paint on it and we'll donate it to the museum, which wasn't ready yet. So that was the first car actually donated to this museum. So now over the years, we have expanded our scope. We have sports cars, we have, drag racing, we have land speed cars, motorcycles. What we try to do is appeal to a lot of different organizations. I can't survive just on midget or sprint car people, okay? But the motorcycle people and the people that like this and like that. But they like it all if you display it in a way they can understand it.
Yeah.
But what I like to do is go from very early and just show you what it looked like until it got newer, And that's basically what we do with the midgets and the sprint cars and the stock cars.
That's incredible. That's
Yeah. Well, this is of course, our Indianapolis area. Those are original doors
Gee.
from right there. It's the original doors. We didn't repaint them. The only thing repainted is the bottom board on that side was rotted out, and we had to replace that. But other than that, they are original. And they were taken down in '82. They were put up in the '20s, and it's kind of neat to have those.
Yeah.
Now, that's opening day at Indy in 1911. Okay, Ray Haroon won it in that 32 car back there. That was when the first rear view mirror was. If you notice, see there was two-man car there, and he ran it by himself, but he had a mirror taped on, and that's where the rear view mirror came into being. Okay, so those were nothing but basically stripped down stock cars. It wasn't till the 20s, till Miller and Duesenberg. Now this is a Miller from the 20s, specially built race cars, okay? And then from that, then you go to, that was the last dirt car that ran in Indy in the 50s. And I'm sorry to say it killed 3 drivers in 4 years. Wasn't the car's fault, maybe the last time it was, but the first two, it was just fluke, But in that display area right there, there's a lot of stuff in there, and it's a shop that we use still. If we had to make something, break something, or the same way with the Hendershitz shop you'll see later on. We have a machine shop and everything down there, but it's for display, but we use it.
It's still active. Didn't Tommy come and borrow something out?
Oh yeah, Tommy was here and he said, can I borrow my tire groove? I said, the stuff is all yours. Take whatever you want.
I knew I left it somewhere.
Well, Tommy, his old Dutch accent, he was a trip, I'll tell you. I enjoyed spending time with him.
This is the Chris Economaki Library, named after Chris, and all of this back through here, this is what Chris donated.
Chris Economaki.
Yeah. Chris liked this place. He wanted to make sure that people could get access to his collection, and that's one reason he sent it here. So all of this back through here, all these, starting from here, through here, over to here, this is all Chris's collection through here. And it's quite the collection. We still have boxes upstairs in the attic that we haven't even emptied. And this in here is also Chris's. His daughter came about a year or two after we got this collection, gave us a check for around $20,000 for the upkeep of his collection.
Thank God it's still here.
Yes, and a lot of these awards you see around here are Chris's. And this is Chris's original typewriter that he worked on right here.
Wow.
Right there. Actually, I cleaned it recently, and while I was cleaning
The
it,
original Speed Sport News typewriter.
yeah, and while I was cleaning it, a USAC pin fell out of it.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah. So,
Wow.
I just left it there with it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But
Now I know where that
Yeah.
comes
He was the first, like, true reporter.
Yeah.
yes, yeah. And like this right here, this thing is really heavy. This is actually solid. This is his Hall of Fame induction award.
I mean,
I told you it's overwhelming.
this could have all gone to a dumpster.
I
That's
think
what's
Rich and I
scary.
spent about
That's-
6 hours in here
Yeah.
last year with Steven.
We spent 2 hours with Steven here last time we were here, just
Yeah.
going over everything and looking at stuff.
And the rest of this museum is all donations. We have estimated over 8,000 racing programs in here and over 5,000 books in the collection, and it's growing. I'm sitting here working on some more that came in, and it just keeps growing and growing. About a year and a half ago, these shelves back here weren't here, and now they're full. And I am running out of room in here. I don't know where. I just put this in to help make some space.
I couldn't imagine just reading like a couple of these books.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
And here's a nice little interesting tidbit on Chris Economaki. A lot of people don't know. We were surprised when we found it. This right here. Chris, of course, was really busy with National Speed Sport, being on TV and everything else. But Chris was also a coroner. He was a coroner for Bergen County.
Really?
In New Jersey. Yep, there's his certificate.
Obviously. Wow.
We don't, I always wonder with everything he did, how in the world he ever figured out how to be a coroner.
Yeah, when do you have time to do that?
He was a coroner.
Obviously, the murder rate wasn't that big.
Times were different then.
Yeah, times were a lot different then.
Yep, for 3 years, he was coroner for. Yeah, these are Chris's scrapbooks.
I do not feel bad. My ex-wife used to yell at me for keeping all this shit. I don't feel bad at all now.
Yeah, this is stuff that, especially when he's a kid and that, he would cut out
Yeah.
articles and keep them. This is all. And the other
This
boxes.
was like a local newspaper.
Yep.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Probably Pittman Herald or something like that.
Yeah.
That's priceless.
Yeah, and he
Yes,
kept
it
all
is.
That's
this.
priceless.
He kept all this.
I wasn't even aware it was here until somebody, one of our former volunteers one day said to me, "Do you know about Chris's scrapbooks?" I said, "No." He said, "Well, there's a cabinet out here. It's in the back of the cabinet." So I went and rooted and found them. I thought, well, we got to get these things saved.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Now, do you take pictures of something like this and document it all, or no?
Right now, I'm just leaving them alone.
Yeah.
Yes, because the
Insane.
condition they're
Are there
in.
dates? Is there anything dated?
Oh, I'm sure. If
Oh,
they're-
I can't read it without choosing.
Probably before World War II.
Yeah, I would say before.
It's
He's served in World War II.
1935.
Yeah.
35.
Yeah, because he served in World War II, so it had to be before World War II.
Yeah.
Jesus.
I can,
That's what we did back in the day.
What do you see?
We're moving in on the Ronnie Dunstan section here.
I here we pretty much talk about it here. Actually, the history of stock car racing, we all started with the full body coupes of the flathead, okay? Then they started putting overheads in them. Then what they do, they cut them up. There's a Model A with a flathead in. Here's a Ford sedan that was chopped up with a Chevy in it. Then later on, the bodies were coming hard to come by, so they put these supers together. All it had to have was a 90-inch wheelbase, 30-inch roll cage. Didn't matter what the body was. From this, you went sprint car racing or stock car racing.
This was like a buggy.
They call them bugs, they call them supers.
You know? It's so cool that this stuff's still around.
I think right over here is a Ronnie Dunstan fire suit.
Oh yeah.
It's back there somewhere in that.
Yes.
Yeah, and I gotta find
They
a
can tell you.
three-time BRDC
Iron block champion.
I gotta take a picture of that.
Ronnie Tobias.
Dave and Bobby put Bill. Okay. So Dave shows that. Okay. Well, let's face it, they all live in the same family. If they needed something, whatever it was at the time, okay? Because at the end of the year, I go down, he had 2 cars, and I run his second car.
Sammy drove the foul.
like I said, I'm so glad when he comes, because then I know somebody's harder here than here than I am.
Yeah, but you get mad at him because he can get out of a car quick.
He can. Well, we had his car here that set the record with,
Yeah.
and there was people here, they said, would you get in that? And yeah, there was just a little
Yeah.
opening.
Yeah.
He just climbed right in that damn thing.
I was there for that. That was insane.
Yeah.
One of the greatest races I ever saw in my life.
He's a very talented guy to drive anything. I was always impressed with him. I'm sorry to say, see that picture right there? The next lap, he was killed.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I went down and spoke at their historical society, and they had that hanging there. And I said, this picture's the night he was killed. Oh, no.
They didn't
And
know
then the
that.
guy that took the picture, he said, how did you know? I said, the only time he ran that car climbing, and he got killed that night. And the guy finally admitted that I was right. We knew it was gone. He said, what do you want? I said, I want the sign along the road and I want the 3-minute clock. So we got it. There it is. That's all made out of homemade shit in there. You ought to see that thing.
But if you go in the pits and if you got out before the lights went out, you got your spot back.
Yep.
Yeah.
You're good to go.
Yep, that's the clock.
The problem with that clock is, if it got real cold, the mechanics in it, it went from a 3-minute clock to a 5-minute clock.
You had to keep an eye on the temperature.
Case right here is Bruce Larson's case. Bruce Larson doesn't live far from here. He's
Really?
a great
I didn't know that.
supporter. He lives over in Dolphin, which is right above
So him and
Harrisburg.
like Joe Amato are the Pennsylvania guys.
He's a Pennsylvania guy, yeah.
Reading, right?
And he
Models
really,
looks like Scranton
really
Wilkes-Barre.
backs the museum and does anything and everything for us. There's his 1990 funny car that's now down at the Smithsonian Institute. They took it down there, and they won't let us have it back to put on display, but you know, that's the way it goes.
So this car here won a race or two, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where's the Christmas tree from?
New England Dragway. They come up here and they said, you guys don't have a Christmas tree. I said, no, we don't. They said, how would you like to have a 5-bulb tree? I said, we'd love to. He said, well, we'll get it restored. I said, no, don't do anything to it. So over there it stands in all its rusty glory.
Yeah.
And at the same time they brought an extra 3 bulbs. So we got them both.
That's cool.
So
This is phenomenal.
now this car, Bruce's car here, this is a replica of the 1972 funny car that he raced that caught on fire and was destroyed. And as a matter of fact, there is the suit he had on, and he was pulled out of here when it was on fire by Pee Wee Wallace, who was back in the front. Now, I always like to ask the visitors, how much horsepower this thing is? I think that 25. Imagine all that horsepower on with a tire that size. He raced this car. They can't buy it. Good.
Yeah. Back then, like mountain drag racing, they have the angle, like the 100 angle. Crazy.
This is pretty much all the same as the original car was, with the exception it has a different kind of transmission in it. And I think there's something about the engine that they hadn't changed to bring it to more of a match race exhibition. It's still my truck car. Now here behind us is Bill Stoughton. It's a car built 1970. Now this car was driven by Ed Hendershitz, who was known for Chevrolets. Chrysler wanted to get him out of there, so they had Stoughton build this car, and he drove this car in the 1970 season because Bill still had his 68 Cuda that he was racing. And then in 72 and 73, Bill drove this car. It's a nice success. Up there is a banner that his son loaned to us back in the day when it was up on the real ramp truck. Now to its right here is John Bachman's Cuda. It's a 68 John was from New York, right here locally, had a bunch of national records, raced a super stock A automatic, which is the fastest super stock. And this is not the same car, we have 2 cars. His son Steve drove this. He also raced it. That's the history. We just got these 2 cars in back. Now we come around here.
He was friends with him.
All right, here, this is the NHRA corner. Up there is the NHRA flag. There's Wally stuff. Here's the division directors. There was the original directors, and there's the wives. And Darwin Dahl was our Division I Land and Ned director here. So that's what the Land and Ned and nicknamed that and everything. Down there is the certification team, and believe it or not, the guy kneeling on the left side in the middle is me. And I'm also in this picture over here, the right side kneeling. That was back when my hair was more and I had all the same colors. So that's pretty. Here's little pictures of the original safety safari that they had. They went out in 1955.
They do a great job for a safety team.
Yep. Dedicated to safety.
Yes.
Behind us, Joe Giacona's car, funny car, Rolling Stone was in here prior to this. And here's a picture of him. We had him in there in the suit and stuff. This is Jungle Jim. I talked to Vicky Giacona, Joe's wife. I said, I've got to move things around here. I'm gonna put Jungle beside Joe. And she laughed. She said, that's great, because they were always at each other. Jungle, Jim's shirt, Joe used to go get these shirts to use it for shop rag. And of course up there they got Rolling Stone versus Joe. They're always this is sacred ground here with these guys. So yeah, we're partners. In fact, here's a picture of the shop in Diamond Street, and you'll see the sign there, store installing more stuff. Oh yeah, that's good. Then Jerry went into the header business, and Joe bought him out, and he went into the speeder business. So they split. That's a set of headers there off of Joe's Corvette. And there's Jerry's 57, there's the headers on his. But the really interesting headers are these headers up here. In 1963, they raced this car and won Top Eliminator out at Indianapolis. With those
Big
headers.
show.
Yeah, the whole world show. And
That's on my bucket.
they took those out, put them on, raced it in the middle of the night into a cornfield, and said, oh, I guess it'll work. Well, they won. So Jerry, being the perfectionist that he was so ashamed of him, and took him home and made a new set. Right before he passed away, he contacted me and said, hey, do you guys want that old set of headers down in the basement of the workbench? You can have them come and get them. So they were downstairs all those years. So they were his first set of headers.
Okay, we're at the midget section. The first car here is actually a 3/4 midget. This was Mario Andretti's very first open wheel ride. There's a young Mario Andretti sitting in it. A lot of people drove it. The next car is a Willys powered, very early midget. Then we have a Van Blurk. Then we have an outboard. We have a V8. Every one of these midgets has a different engine in it. You're going to go on down there. There's a tractor engine in one. There's one of them that's got a BMW motorcycle engines on a special block. And we have the car that Mario won 3 races in one day in down here. So let's walk on down this way, okay?
We're in the Iron Block Championship.
We can go here and it'll pan that way, right?
Sure, absolutely.
This particular midget, the cycle, these are World War II BMW motorcycle engine. Just the heads, you know, and the blocks. And what they did, they made the crank and the case, put it on in the 40s, and made this midget engine. Wow. And it was very competitive, okay? Now here's the one that has the little Ford Ferguson tractor engine. Again, it was Midget.
Ferguson.
Then the next two, this one here was actually Kenny Brown, one of his first Offie powered cars, and it was 1950 UR's ARDC championship car. And then number 11 is the car that Mario won 3 races in one day. That's the one that got him started. Okay?
That's the 3-in-1, right?
Well, it is, yes. Actually, when he ran it, had a question mark on it. Okay. The Kalen car, very neat car, a lot of great guys. Matter of fact, we have several drivers walking around here today that ran this
Brian
car.
Seidel.
Brian Seidel. Van's down there. Van won a feature in it. No,
That was Optimus.
no, that was Opperman. Okay, and my 2 cars. We,
Okay.
okay, so we had an affectionate name for him. Now, let's just rotate around here. This is Tommy Hendershitz, was 7-time Eastern champion. All right, there's a picture up there in 1955 of his garage, and if you turn around here, you see all that stuff we pulled out of his garage. Here is the Miracle Power Special. If you by looking at that and looking at that, if you'll see the light over his head, okay, you look back there, there is that light. He brought this stuff, and every time he'd come, he'd bring us something. This shop is usable.
That's what you were saying.
Yeah, in other words, the lathe works, everything. We actually come down.
Really?
The drill press does not.
Well, that's
I don't
like a
have the belt.
Frankenstein. That's
I don't
like a
have,
Frankenstein.
but that is the original,
Yeah.
okay?
Whoa.
Now, he was 7-time Eastern champion. This car won the last 3A championship in 1955. USAC was formed in 56, and it turned around and won the first. So this ended one deal and started another.
This was your first USAC champion right here.
Right there.
You're looking.
1956.
Yep, 56. He won the
forget that.
AAA championship. AAA got out of racing. USAC started. He won the last
So he
AAA.
closed.
and then USAC.
Yes.
And he won them both.
Wow.
He ended the one and started the other.
The other.
Okay. Now, what's neat about this is I have his epitaph. Right, he died in '99, and in there, A.J. Foyt called him a giant. Mario called him his idol, or vice versa. So you can get an idea where he was in the pecking order with a couple. The problem is, I get young kids that come through here, they don't know who those 2 are. So I got to go to Stewart to Foyt. I got to go another generation to get it hooked up. You know.
You can skip Stewart generation.
No, Stewart's all right.
We're all older.
No, we're older than we
I know, but when I get groups of school kids of 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade, I have.
You get
gotta-
3rd and 4th grade school come in here?
Oh yeah.
Oh my God.
Got a group right here.
So you have to, you have to. I tie it into local history,
Yeah, that's
but
awesome.
you gotta hit them with something they recognize, and then hook it together, and it works. Okay. Here we have 100 years of sprint car racing. It's early down to the late. Now the early history we tell here I think is very good. This is John Gerber's shop. He was, let's just say this bobtail he ran in the 20s was unbelievable. It was unbeatable. If you ever want to read a native book, just read the Outlaw Sprint Car book. In October of last year, we went out to the shop in Davenport, Iowa, picked this race car up that sat in his shop for 84 years. 84 years. Here it is sitting in the shop.
Look at this.
And then here it is going out of the door for the first time in 84 years.
84 years
And
of
if you went and moved that truck, you go right down to the Mississippi River.
Wow.
Okay. Now I had a videographer along, and that's his son. There it was coming out of the garage for the first time
First time I've seen daylight in
in 84 years.
Dude, you can't make this shit up.
No, you can't. Well, I made sure if we picked all this stuff up. If I was going to do this, I wanted to document it. And this was the best way to document it.
You got a big old
Here,
smile on
here
your face
is
right
that place in 1934. Right there.
Did they know like that was in their farm?
The family,
Yeah.
John Gerber was a renowned racer back then. He took junkyard parts and beat the big money auction house.
That's how it
He
should
was
be.
that sharp. Billy's own boss. Billy's own motor.
Look at these treads.
He was a phenomenal guy.
Imagine.
His car won the opener to grow.
They had the little shield off to the side here to protect you a little bit
all that
from
big money auction house.
Derbis.
He had that little four-cylinder Chevy.
Yeah, the tread is.
So
There's one over there. It's
he
got
was
real
he's a
little
national
round
treasure
knobs.
in sprint car.
I've never seen a tire like
So
that. It's
that's
over in the
why
corner.
Like a motocross. They had his bobtail car here and had this car.
Those gas cans were in the garage.
Everything in here was in the garage. Here's his World War I uniform when he was a bad
You don't see any. You never see that.
That's over 100 years old.
Yeah. It is. I went to have it cleaned and they laughed at me. They said, if you try to clean that, it'll be gone. So he said, just leave it alone.
That's incredible.
Hey, Lynn,
Now, yes.
tell him what Rico said when you asked him if you want to drive.
Oh yeah, I had Rico. Basically, I had Rico in, and I sat him in 3 cars. I sat him in this, I sat him in the Miracle car, and I sat him in my car, the number 1. He got in this, he looked around, I said, what do you think? He said, no.
Can you imagine?
No.
That's a pretty brave guy that said that.
Yeah. Well, I like, you see the picture, this is the helmet.
The helmet's great.
And the goggles, and the bow tie. If you notice, he always wore a bow tie.
That's because he's
You
getting
gotta
ready for
remember,
his funeral.
back before World War II, if you took pictures of all the fans,
They're
and
in their
stuff,
suits.
they all
Yeah.
dressed up like they're going to church.
Going out. It was
You
a
know,
night out.
right.
Yep.
I mean, the culture was a completely different thing. Okay.
Wow.
Now, here we go. Moving up a little from the bobtail and the Gerber. This is a World War II rail frame sprint car. It had a World War II aircraft engine. Okay. That's a Ranger aircraft engine. The prop went on there, that would be top front in the airplane. After World War II, they surplused it. And what they did, they'd sell them for 50, 75 bucks in the crate. Put out the same horsepower as the Offenhauser. Looks heavy, only weighed 375 pounds.
Looks like a ton.
It doesn't.
That was in an airplane. Had to be light.
Yeah,
Yeah,
had to be light. Yeah.
So that's what's in here, okay? And they ran a lot of those because they were surplus. You could buy them cheap.
Right. Because the war was over, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Hey, World War II supported racing for 50 years after World War
Yeah.
II was over. Now, I didn't talk about the Chitwood car. We have a car over there that's beautiful, that's all chromed up. Most of the sprint cars look like this. Not a lot of spit and polish. you
Right.
know. Now, I have the cars out of position right now. Right now, I have the Weichert car here. Bob Weichert was a tremendous car owner. Kenny started with him, Pitzer, Wolfgang, you name it.
Yeah.
I drove for him a couple of times,
Yeah.
you know, it was just one of those things. But
I'm from upstate
Weichert-
New York, man. I remember
Yeah,
watching that
yeah.
when they kicked their ass. Look, they're
Every
big old
time.
Macri.
Yeah, yeah.
Macri
Now,
concrete.
yeah, well, they were sponsored for Hodnett. Okay,
Yeah.
I have 4 Hodnett cars here. This one shouldn't be here. It's a little too new, but until I get my storage cleared out, I got them out of order a little bit.
Jim and
Okay.
Sandy Klein.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. J&S.
Yeah, that thing used to. That was
Now,
a badass ride.
Here's the hood off of the K33 of
Get the
Keith
name on
Kaufman.
that. Yeah.
Now, I want to show you this. These are side panels off a race car. Now, sometimes the government didn't always know when they helped you. Road signs, can you believe that?
That is
I
excellent.
was out picking up a race car in Illinois, and the guy showed them to me. He said, "You want them?" I said, "Yeah, I want to take them."
Absolutely, I do.
Now, this is a car I drove. This is a Lloyd
just
car.
beautiful.
We won the National Open in 1982 with this car. It was actually the first car donated to the museum.
Wow. Do you wish you could still drive it?
I still can. That's nice.
his.
But if you start that motor, I quit because there's no connecting rods.
Oh.
The two motors we ran
We
in
could
here
do it.
are in our engine display. I have the ZL1, which was 180 aluminum big blocks, and then I have the Yank over there that we ran in here too.
Wow, this won the National Open
Yeah,
as
in
a sprint
82.
car.
Yeah.
What size fuel cell is that?
This, I think, had a 33 gallon. This isn't the fuel cell. This is a cover.
That's just a
Okay,
cover.
the cover. The tank is under there.
Okay.
Then we did have a 38 gallon one that was all one. Okay. By looking at the picture, I can tell the difference.
Okay, yeah.
But we actually ran both.
So that's just a cover.
Actually, the opening race Reading in '79, which was the last sprint car race, I led until 4 to go, and then it quit. And they didn't tell me for 3 weeks that I ran out of fuel.
Oh, that's a hard story to
But
tell.
they didn't fill the tank.
Kind of like T-Maz at Bridgeport.
The toe loop, it smashed, but the toe loop in case the throttle would stick.
Right, I thought it was smashed because you just.
No, we let anybody get in it to once in
so
it.
it just-
You
okay.
climb in.
Go ahead in, Joe.
Get in it.
No, go ahead.
Come on, if Noodles can get in one at Bloomsburg, that Bloomington.
All right, I'll do this.
Oh, here you go.
I'll show you how it's done.
There you go. Look at that.
Piece of cake.
Piece of cake.
See, there's nothing really to
Look
it.
at that.
Now, there's one phenomenon that never happened before. My belly never
I think the wheel moved.
You gotta push the wheel up now.
Too many bear tacos.
And this was your first National Open car that you won.
Yes. We won it the next year in the
Yeah, and
Hamilton car.
then you have the history of like, okay, I'm done.
Yep.
Well, I didn't know it was going to happen that way.
Right.
Actually, this is
Lynn
the checkered
Paxton
flag
out.
for actually
Oh wow!
for winning the National Open in '82.
They still give out checkered flags to this day. At the
I
golf
don't know, but they did.
For your first
Yep,
career
they still
win, they
do.
give you one.
Yeah. It's awesome.
Well, they didn't give them to us. We just stole them.
There you go.
We're gonna take that one.
It's not stealing, it's borrowing.
See ya.
Yeah.
Now, he's all right.
Yeah. Good lord.
I like this car.
This is Syracuse.
Well, it won Syracuse in '86 and '88.
Oh.
It is just exactly the way it won in '88. It's not restored. It's all original. Okay.
You ever hear that?
The one that knocked
Nah.
him last was in '86 also.
Terrible.
Him and I had some pretty good battles. But I like the car because it's all original.
Has Steve been here?
Yes.
Has.
Oh man. Carl.
I'm
too?
sorry.
Goodyear rubber.
No, Carl hasn't.
No.
But Steve hasn't. I'm sorry to say I wasn't here when he was here.
I was there for both 86 and 80. I was there. It's like when they brought that 28D out today. I bought shit myself.
Then we have the Hamilton car. We actually had two. There's another one upstairs. This one right here, we had to check the numbers, but it was a Greg Hodnick. No, this is not. It was a Hodnick show car, but it was actually. Yeah.
Does it have the gauges in it?
I think so.
Remember that pouchy one that won at Grandview with no gauges?
Well, but this was the Raymer car. Okay, 2001. And hey, Gene. And then we have another one back here, the '88 car. That he also ran.
Ours car,
And this
yep.
is another one of the Hodnick cars. Okay. So what you looked at from its infancy
Yeah.
up through 100 years of sprint car
Holy
racing.
smokes. That's amazing. I
Now-
remember when Pouch drove this.
Right here this was the way they built race cars back in the 30s, 40s, and 50s, hand pound aluminum.
On a
Like the
English
Hendershitz car back there, that's what
Look at how
made
nice
it.
that is.
Huh?
Look how nice it is.
Yeah, but that all started with
Yeah,
a flat piece
flat
of
piece
aluminum.
of aluminum.
Yeah, go check that out.
Jesse James would be impressed with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know?
What they did is the nose and the tail, they pounded out of two halves and then gas welded it back together. Now the hood here, that's made all in one piece. All right, look at the strike marks.
Yeah.
They can make 2 of these a month. Okay? Now, in the early 50s, how much did that cost?
Couldn't tell you.
$925. Can you imagine on today's market?
Oh.
That's a $30,000 bill right
Yeah,
there.
that's a Thursday.
$900 for the grill.
Yeah, 900 for the grill. Cheapers Christmas. Dude, this is unbelievable.
Now,
Did they use an English wheel on that?
no.
All hand pounded.
What he did, he had cast iron bucks to do the finish work.
Okay.
He was working on the bucks. He had a right and a left.
Right,
Okay.
right.
See, when you were English wheels were great for one-offs,
Right.
but if you wanted the same thing, you had to have something that you could
More
use.
consistent.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Now, see, those were wood, but then you had cast iron bucks that you could finish work. Wow.
So that was like the mold.
Yeah, yeah.
Alright.
Now, like this. He didn't make this. He bought this. The brake handle. That's a Ford starter button for the kill switch. Anybody know what that is?
Fuel pump.
No, it's a brake handle. If you want
Is
to
it
speed
a
up.
jack handle?
22 gun barrel. Had a hole. All you had to do was heat it and bend it. Okay?
Yeah.
They never broke one.
How did they have a knurled end on there at this time?
Well, it's aluminum. They're very easy. They knurled it and made those.
didn't
That's
realize-
Siligus. Yep.
Oh, I didn't realize they.
Then
That's
you
a
fill-
barrel of a gun.
Yep.
That's insane.
You know, here was to make exhaust. Here was to cast the steering wheel. There was cast,
To the vents.
well,
Right.
they were the fittings for the throttle linkage. Okay? Here, look at this. See the die on this end?
Yeah,
That was for the louvers. So you'd reach
that's
in
the
there
louver punch.
and hit it with a hammer.
that's the louver pump.
There you go. These guys,
They were brilliant.
they were.
Ahead of the
I
time.
didn't buy stuff. He made
Small?
It was from Midget.
Oh,
To
okay.
know
All right.
well.
Yeah.
You want to race him too? That's a wrench.
No, that's no problem. Okay, that's pretty well does it, guys. Is that okay?
Oh my
Mr.
God.
Paxton, thank
Glenn,
you so much.
we can't thank you enough for your
Yes,
time.
I
Okay.
cannot thank you
This
enough,
was
sir.
absolutely.
All right,
Thank you
very
so
good.
much.
Thank you
Thank
so
you, Mr.
much.
Jackson.
Yep.
Thank you so much. Pleasure to meet you.
Pleasure.
Hey, race fans, we are at the end of the day here at the Lattimore Valley Fairgrounds, which was a fantastic day. Great weather. We saw some great race cars here. We'll have some video of that. You'll see them on the track. Thanks to our guests, Nancy Miller, the president of the EMMR, of course, the great Lynn Paxton, for giving us a tour of the building. Kelly Waters, who runs this fair, the fair coordinator, thank you very much. Don Robertson gave us some info on a book coming out. And our guests, we had Gary Gollop, Rick and Randy Shive, Brian Seidel. It was a pretty good day, don't you think?
I'd say Lynn Paxton, Stephen Bubbs.
Stephen Bubbs, thank you very much.
I was able to get on a push truck. I was able to get our
Cage
GoPro
mount on
on a
GoPro.
cage mount on a 1931 jalopy car. This was just one epic event today.
Stephen Bubb actually got out Chris Economaki's personal scrapbooks when he was young and shared them with us. They're close to 100 years old, which
People don't get to see.
you usually don't get to see them. But
Well,
we
you'll
got to
see it here on the video.
Definitely have pictures. So,
Yep.
hey, thanks a lot. Like again, if you like what you're seeing here and want to see more content, hit the like button right about there. Subscribe over here so we can keep you up to date on the content we've got. I'm Rich Reinhardt.
Bear Schlosser.
Whippy,
Joe Adams.
you guys kicked ass today, man.
Thank you very much.
Awesome job.
Yeah, awesome job. Awesome.
Everybody.
Awesome.
We have met so many incredible,
Yes.
incredible people. We have to thank the NASCA family
Yep.
for helping us out
Yes,
here.
exactly,
They
yeah.
were awesome today. Thank you
Yep.
so much. They are currently off camera right now, but
Dad's over here.
everybody stepped up. Come on in here, Dad.
Come on in here, Dad.
Come on in
I
here.
think, guys, this is a yearly thing now.
I think you're going to see us here again.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think this date is pretty much going to be.
So
a
we
yearly
want to see different sprint cars every year. So get working.
Yeah. You should step in when you pulled out the Brad Doty car.
Yeah, when the Brad Doty and the Boop Saloon cars showed up, I had a heart attack.
Yeah, I went back to Syracuse, 1987.
Exactly.
Well, great stuff. We want to thank everybody.
Yeah.
Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for supporting Lowdown and Dirty. Thank you for supporting Lowdown Entertainment. And we hope to see you all around the raceways sometime very, very soon. Till then,
Peace,
out,
love, and
God
Roundy
bless.
Brown.
Make a friend of the races.